Hi everyone. My name is Lynette Davis, the president of A&D Media, and I want to welcome you again to my blogcast series, Marketing Superheroines and Superheroes Unite. So I'm super excited to have with me my very special guest, Miss Carol Ann DeSimine, who is going to share her special blend of awesome sauce with you all. So, Carol Ann, thank you so much for joining me. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you serve the world with your USP, your unique superpowers.
Wow. Thanks, Lynn. Thanks for having me today. Okay, so it's been a long journey for me. I've been in business for going on 9 years now. So how I started out was as the president of Big Eye Media, which I called a creative services agency. And I did a lot of marketing for my clients, graphic design, photography, writing, things like that. My background is in public relations. And as time went by, I realized that I was still pretty much the best kept secret in this area. And so about 2 years, I decided to change that and start playing a bigger game. And I noticed too that my clients were not really playing as big as they could. So I wanted to help them really get out there. So I created a program called the Sizzles system, which teaches forward-thinking, opportunity-seeking entrepreneurs how to create a personal brand that is red hot. So when I say personal brand, a lot of people they're not really quite sure what that is, but a personal brand really is your persona, everything about you that makes you special, that makes you stand out from the crowd, and that attracts your people, so to speak. So there are a lot of moving parts to that, and I kind of help my clients find all those moving parts that are applicable to what they do, and then really put them all together in a way that makes them shine.
Awesome, awesome. So, listening to that and trying to make it in superhero in terms of it's kind of like you have this amazing superpower to basically to see inside somebody and pull out their special essence essentially.
Yes, I do. That is my gift. When I examine my own gifts, my own values, I used to think it was the creative part of me, being able to do graphic design, photography, having that eye, but I've come to realize that it's a lot more than that. Like, I'm very, very insightful. I really do see the vision for my clients, and so I try to help them to develop that. I mean, Lynette, so many times you struggle with talking about yourself, and sometimes you can't even see your own brilliance, even though you do it every single day, but to you it's just like something you do, right?
Yeah,
But it takes
absolutely.
somebody else to really take notice and to say, oh my gosh, that Lynette, she is like the best social media person ever. I mean, she really knows how to get my message out there. But to you, it's just an everyday thing. So it takes somebody else to really kind of hone in on what makes you special and what you do differently than anyone else who does what you do.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I've heard the phrase that it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So Thank you for sharing that, first of all, before I keep on moving. Thank you for sharing it, Caroline. So,
My pleasure.
so what I like to do is just open up some dialogue about some common obstacles that come up for those of us who leverage our social media superpower. Speaking of social media, as a part of our overall marketing strategy and the overall unleashing of our USPs. And I think that's really going to tie in to what you do with really making a brand sizzling hot. So, Carol Ann, what is your understanding about the interaction between what you do, which is very, very essential to effective marketing, and the use of social media?
Okay, so social media is very, very important to personal branding. Number one, you have your look. You want your, you know, all your social media covers to have the same look, a consistent look. So that's one way, and they should all tie into the look of your website. So that's the first thing. But the more important thing is that social media is a platform to help an entrepreneur develop her voice. So, I mean, we all know the 80-20 rule. I think is it 80% business, 20% personal, whatever. But whenever you're posting, you should stay true to your messaging. Social media gives you so many opportunities to get your message out there. Now, you're not going to say the same exact message over and over again, but it's going to be the same theme, the same idea, and you don't want to get too off track of that core message because then it just muddles your brand. So, Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, they're all great places to, continually post several times a day. But then what I love is blogging. I love blogging. So that's, I guess, the real, I guess that's probably how I take advantage of social media in the biggest way. Is that because that really establishes you as an expert by writing articles on your area of expertise and setting you apart from others who do the same thing. And again, that's really a great way to develop your voice and get it out there. And then, of course, your e-zine.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you, and you totally already went into my next question. Because my next question was basically, what is one of your favorite social media tools, And basically you just said it. To blog on your own platform, to establish your thought leadership and your expertise on your blog. And a lot of people sometimes don't think of a blog as a part of social media, but I would say a blog may not be a social media platform like Facebook or Twitter,
Right.
but a blog, in the act of blogging and interacting with other bloggers, is social media.
Yeah. Yeah, and it all comes under this umbrella of content marketing as well. So
Absolutely.
it all works together. And then, of course, when you write a blog, what do? You share it on all these other social media platforms. So it is your message. It's part of your message. It's just a longer message than uh, a short Facebook post might be. And it
Right.
draws people in a little bit more.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. So, you know, as I kind of go over this with my speakers here, and I'm adjusting my screen here, so forgive me, that all these things Facebook and Twitter, which I absolutely love, because you're right. It is places where, we can spread out our story and get our story hopefully seen by people who might not have found our blog, um, and to spread our voice out into the world and hope to speak to our people and find our people who resonate with our messages. But the thing is, tools are tools, and and they're great, but they are tools. And one of the issues that I noticed is that when we focus so much on tools, we lack true relationship, true relationship building and true relationship nurturing, because we're so focused on the media and not the social. So, let's talk about that as it relates to your area of specialties. So, you know,
That
and yeah.
that's a really good point, Lynette, because yeah, you always want to. I mean, really, it's all about building the know, like, and trust factor. But when you're scheduling your posts, it isn't the optimal way to interact. You still have to have a presence. You still have to show up and interact with people. I have to be honest, I don't use a lot of scheduling tools for Facebook or Twitter or anything else. I guess the biggest tool I use is scheduling my blog and my e-zine. And I try to be present on Facebook, and I actually do it manually. I share my e-zine, my blogs on LinkedIn with all the groups that I'm in. And sometimes I don't even hit all the groups. Sometimes my blog posts might not be relevant to, say, a magazine publishing blog because I'm writing about personal branding. But I do belong to a lot of groups because those are more targeted. They're more the people that I need to reach. So I guess you could say I do it the old-fashioned way, in that when I put out a blog or an e-zine, every couple hours I go in and I say, who do I want to share this with? So I understand I really should be taking advantage more of the scheduling tools and really be working social media a little bit more to my advantage. I
Yeah,
think we, go ahead.
oh no, go ahead, finish.
I think maybe I need to hire someone like you to do it for me.
Carol, hey, you know my number. We'll talk about that afterwards.
Okay.
But I think you got it though. The thing is, you said something very really important. First of all, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with the old-fashioned way, especially when it comes to building relationships. You People get so confused about building relationships on social media because it's not something they're doing in a in person or face to face kind of thing. But the thing is, the same principles that you have offline, you can essentially bring them online. And I think by doing what you're doing and going in those very specific groups and waiting for an opportunity to share what you have when it's relevant to them is very important to a successful social media marketing campaign. Of course, being able to use scheduling tools so that you can be consistent is also helps the larger part of the scheme. But when you take the time to do things like that, I think that's where you are really truly building real relationships and real connections, both offline and online. So I applaud you for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I am going to again segue into the next question, which you kind of said, and I saw somebody kind of walk behind. So this I know you can answer this question. So in your experience, you know, after we talked about all these things, and we kind of gave a little bit of a summary here for the people who are watching this, but in your experience, what online marketing activities would you suggest our viewers delegate so that you can continue to do things like what you are doing, which is, you know, helping people or seeing the essence of people and helping them have a brand that sizzles and building relationships and helping people essentially unleash their USPs.
Yeah, that was my assistant Robin who just came in, and she helps me with public relations because that's a big part of personal branding. Public relations seems to have come back into the forefront of the marketing mix. So that's one thing. You certainly can't do it all when you have, you know, when you're trying to be big and sizzling hot. It takes a lot of people and a lot of support. The one thing that I am really, really big on is getting virtual support I'm getting big support for virtual events. There are so many moving pieces. I've done a couple teleseminars. I have one coming up. I could not imagine having to, so to speak, be the brilliance, the brains of the teleseminar and what I'm talking about, but to also have to market it myself with Facebook ads, with emails that need to go out on a regular basis and autoresponders, and there's just so much. And yeah, it's a big job, and it costs, but it's well worth that cost because it takes a lot off your plate so you can really focus on your own brilliance. So I think that's where I seek the most support when it comes to my virtual events. And I know I'm behind a little bit, but I do need to hire somebody to do the social media on a regular basis for me because I can only do so much on my own because I still am serving my clients and they come first. So I'm kind of like the shoemaker's daughter in a lot of respects.
I totally understand. I totally understand where you're coming from. I totally understand where you're coming from. Awesome. Caroline, thank you so much for sharing that again. And um we're definitely going to talk after this broadcast. um but you started to tell us a little bit about a teleseminar that's coming up. So, before we end, I always like to leave, whoever encounters A&D and our special guests with one key takeaway, that they can go ahead and put into action or take to heart and be inspired to action. So, please share one key takeaway with us. And then also, let's hear more about that awesome teleseminar that's coming up. And and also, yeah, I just said that. Where those who are watching or they have found us on the e-zine or blog or social media, where can they find you for more amazing power boosters to help them have a brand that sizzles?
Okay, I think my big takeaway that I want to offer everybody is to stop playing small. I mean, really up your game in any way you can. Figure out what it is about you that makes you you. Don't try to be anyone else. Don't listen to what people are telling you to do. If it doesn't feel right, you'll know. You'll know. But as far as your brand goes, be consistent. Get your messaging down in a way that's going to attract clients and show your brilliance. Be consistent in your look. That's probably more than one tip, right? But so if you want to learn more about the Sizzle system, my website is thesizzlesystem.com, and I'd be happy to talk to any of your viewers. You can easily set up a discovery session with me on my website. But even before that, subscribe to my list and get my 7 strategies for branding success, my manifesto. So you can do that at thesizzlesystem.com. And my program, I'm getting ready to start a 6-week Sizzle System Boot Camp Intensive. And that can be found at, let me see, personalbranding.thesizzlesystem.com. So that's my program that's going to be running soon. But I invite your viewers to subscribe at thesizzlesystem.com. Get my e-zine. They'll be getting branding tips. And read my blog. And apply for a discovery session, and then we can talk. And I can see how I can help them on an individual basis.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for offering that. Ladies and gents, or superheroines and superheroes of your very own story, you heard it first. Be sure to stop by thesizzlesystem.com to get your free information. It's free, so take advantage of it. And Carol Ann, thank you so much for joining me on this hangout. I am super excited that you were able to join me. And we will definitely have to talk again some more. And everyone else, have a wonderful, wonderful day or evening. I'm not, whenever you're watching this. And until next time, take care.
Thanks, Lynette.
Thanks, Carolyn. And thank you, everyone.